All right, what's up, guys? Really quick before we get into this episode, I was actually uploading it, and then I got an email from Melon, and they were asking me if I wanted to reactivate my 24-hour code again. So if you missed the last time we did this, for the next 24 hours, you can use code PBStudio at melon.com, and you can save 30% on any of their hats. If you didn't see the last episode where we talked about these are the hats that you guys always see me wearing in the episodes. I absolutely love these hats. It is literally the only hat I am willing to wear at this point. They actually just had a few new drops as well, so now would be a good time to save some money if you were looking to pick one up. If you pick one up, let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, enjoy the episode, guys. What's up, guys? We are back with another episode, and this week, the man has finally returned after a month-long sabbatical. Welcome back, Will.
Oh, yes. It's good to be back, man. I missed you. I missed the U.S. I missed pickleball. All the things. Oh.
Yeah, you were in Cambodia, so we'll get to that in a minute. But this episode, we're going to go over just a little bit of news on some paddles, some of Will's trip, and then also we're going to talk about just what we think are some of the best paddles to be released so far this year. There's some ones coming up soon that we can't really talk about yet. I mean, most of them people know what's coming out, but those probably won't. Yeah, they're not going to be in the list because, embargo stuff hasn't been lifted yet, but eventually we'll talk about those.
Yes.
But anyways, Will, before we get to your Cambodia stuff, we'll go through some of the news.
Yeah.
But first, did you see Hayden get nasty Nelson'd by Zane?
Yeah,
at MLP?
it was a net cord and then it hit him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Zane is a menace. He did this, I think, at Beer City Open. I don't know if you saw the clip where he did it against Neil Moderata.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and then it's just so funny because Zane was like saying, "I'm sorry" or whatever. I guess he was saying sorry for the net cord. It's like that it wasn't a clean nasty Nelson. I just thought that just made it even funnier. I was like, it's such a Zane thing to do,
MLP is like the perfect environment to go for that too.
I know. I wonder if anyone is plotting to get Zane back. Like, here, have a taste of your own medicine, and hit him back with a nasty Nelson at a game. He has to be fearing it now. It has to be in his mind.
I feel like, yeah, you would definitely. Also, it's just so. I feel like not many people in MLP, like Zane has that personality that's like, this would make for great pod content or something. I'm gonna go for this. Yes. I don't think most of the other people would.
No, definitely not. Yeah, he's definitely playing the game differently. I'm not talking about the game of pickleball. I'm talking about the social media, celebrity pickleball kind of game. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, making content, talking about it, being clipped. He knows what he's doing. You
get in the news, which it worked great. He's on our pod and was all over Instagram.
Yeah, but he's the perfect person to do it. So I did see it, and I just think it's even funnier that it was against Hayden. I don't know, who would you like to see nasty Nelson in a pro pickleball event or match? Anybody in particular
that I think would be funny?
Yeah, that would be funny or entertaining, or oh dang, that happened. Who would it be? Who would be the most entertaining, or just somebody
Who would be the most entertaining? Colin Johns, probably.
Colin Johns, okay.
No, and it would need to happen how it happened to Hayden.
Oh yeah. Oh, he
hit the net cord. So dude, he'd be off the court.
Yes. He'd be livid.
That would be really funny.
I think that'd be funny. I'm trying to think from the women's side who might be funny. I mean, obviously, it's not funny to really get hit by a ball. Obviously, I don't want anybody getting really hurt or anything, but just the fact that it happens, I think it's funny. But yeah, Colin Johns came to mind. Ben Johns came to mind. Riley Newman came to mind.
Oh, that
and
one
for some reason, Matt Wright. And then on the women's side, I'm not too entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know who I can't think who would give a funny reaction.
Who'd give a really pissed off reaction? Who'd be the most pissed?
Leia, I'm sure Anna Lee would not be pleased.
Wait, who?
Anna Lee, but Leia also probably would not. I don't think anyone would appreciate getting hit, but I could imagine the reaction not going well.
Somebody out there, Zane, make it happen. I'm waiting for this.
This won't be the last time. You already know it won't.
We should make a bingo card with people's names on it, and when somebody gets nasty Nelson, we just put X and we see who got the bingo first.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. So we've got some paddles we wanted to talk about. So I want to talk about the Monarchs a little bit from 11/6/24 because you got to hit those this week, right?
Yes, when the first like let me see, when I came back from Cambodia, one of the first people I hit up was David. How do you say David's last name?
I have no idea, and I wouldn't even make an attempt.
Groschel. So obviously I had to go see him. He's from Virginia. His warehouse where he does business is out in Northern Virginia, close to where my parents live and where I used to live. So went to go see him. He gave me all the paddles, like even the Huarache X in all the different core thicknesses. He gave me all the Monarchs, and I got to hit with them like today and a little bit when I was in Virginia. And yeah, they are all very good. Which one is your favorite? They're all like, some of them are very similar, but I don't know. Did you have a favorite amongst them?
So if we're just talking the Monarchs, so there's three of them. So there's the Jelly Bean, which is the Gen 1.5. Then there's the Control, which is the Kevlar. And then the All Court, which is basically what the Huarache X Control Plus was, which is thermoformed carbon fiberglass sandwich type of deal. I would say right now my favorites are the Jelly Bean and the Monarch, and I could easily see myself.
Wait. We talking about the Jelly Bean and the Monarch. There's three of them. You just said it.
I know. I keep calling the All Court the Monarch, and I don't know why. They're all Monarchs.
Monarchs is the shape.
Yes, Monarch is the shape. The All Court and the Jelly Bean are both really good, and I could see myself using either of those.
Yes, I think I prefer the Jelly Bean just a little bit more, something about the feel and the touch, but it could also be because I haven't played pickleball in quite some time, so my touch is off, and I feel like the softer Jelly Bean helps with that, and probably the Control Kevlar version as well. David did tell me that they're doing like a little rebrand or renaming of his paddles, so I'm much looking forward to that. But the Monarch was a good start. At least now I know that's the shape. Like,
yes.
You know?
Yeah. Agreed.
Aside from it being called the Jelly Bean, and I was like, okay, All Court and the Control kind of makes sense. But I was like, how'd you get from that to the Jelly Bean? But I guess it's because that's his story, right? That's why 11/6/24 he calls it the Jelly Bean, which, okay, I'll give it to him.
The only thing I think he needed to do is if you're going to do the Jelly Bean, you got to do like Jelly Bean colored edge guards or something.
True. Maybe he has that in the works. I will say that when I went to his warehouse, he is like literally cutting, shapes, and he's trying different layups like in his warehouse, which is nice to see. Like now I know that he's actually trying things. He's really kind of just not just going overseas and just picking something out of a catalog. I mean, he might be, but like he's also experimenting here, so he knows better of what he wants. So that's like kind of nice to see. So I'll give him props for that for sure.
I think we're definitely getting to a point where I'm sure you can, just be a catalog brand and be mildly successful. But I think we are kind of past the day where you can just completely spin up some catalog thing and make it kind of big. I think if you want to even have a chance, you're going to have to either do a custom mold or you're going to have to do some of your own R&D to figure things out and like kind of see what plays well. And I feel like just from seeing him talk in my Discord, he's been working on a lot of different things and ideas. So it's just nice to see. I think we're kind of past the stage of being able to be completely lazy.
Yeah. You have to either now innovate or you have to be like master at marketing. And we kind of knew this, right? Like we're at that point, we're at that level in the market where you can do what you just said right there. So you either have to market or you have to innovate or you have to do a combination of both. And I mean, we know people who are doing that. Like let's take Doug from Bread and Butter, perfect example. Like he's master at marketing and he still pushes out relatively like interesting and kind of new things. At least he's on trend, but his marketing is top tier,
100%. 100%. Well, we'll come back to the Monarchs because when we get to our primary topic, I'm going to talk about them a little bit more there. But next up, I just wanted to say the Gearbox Ultimate comes out in 2 days, and I won't have a review on launch day if people are curious. Again, with the whole house thing, we're mostly settled now.
Yeah. You're settled? You're good?
Ish. I mean, like I was telling you, we're still 3 weeks with no internet here, so it's still hard to do things in here. And then I think this week we're going to start trying to convert the basement into the studio, get things out of Isaac's place, and get it over to mine. So we're mostly there. We're back to at least I can do a normal work day every day for the most part. It's a little annoying, but we can do it. Whereas like the last few weeks, it was like, dude, I can't do both.
Okay. Well,
but yeah, so
let me know how
Ultimate,
that goes.
Yeah, for sure. Ultimate, we'll get there eventually. You guys will hear more about it soon. Again, that's one I can't really say much more about, but I think it's one people are probably going to be pretty interested in, especially if you enjoyed the Pro Power. So we'll get back to it when we have time.
Yeah, I think mine's somewhere in these boxes. You have no idea how many boxes I have after I came back. I was gone for a month. Like my studio room is just packed filled to the brim. There's going to be a massive unboxing video / update video coming out soon from me.
Dude, I don't know how. I mean, I guess normally in 1 week, I don't get that many packages. But now, so in my apartment, I just had unlimited recycling and trash because there's just giant dumpsters.
Yeah.
Now that I'm at a house, I'm like, oh, wait, I'm limited by the size of my can. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't put as many boxes in here as I'm used to.
You need to figure out a workflow. You need to break down the boxes and cut them down now and like flatten them out. Yeah.
No, seriously, I have to think about it more. Or the nice thing is I still can go to my apartment until September because no one's moved into it yet.
You're gonna you're gonna throw your trash over there.
No, yeah, I'm only a couple minutes away, so I just zip over there and that's what I've been doing. Is I'm like, I can't put it here.
Okay, you go back to like upload videos because you have internet over there.
No, actually, I have to. Like after we edit the pod tomorrow, I will go to my apartment, which has no furniture in it, sit on the floor, upload the video, and then go home.
Okay, all right. Things we do, you know.
Yep.
You in there. You're in the content slums right now, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
exactly.
Cool. Gearbox Ultimate is coming out soon. There's some other releases that are coming. We have the Quartz from 6-0. Are we allowed to talk about that at all, or?
We can talk probably a little bit, probably not too much about how it plays or anything, but they've showed all the colors. They've announced the price at $90. It'll be definitely one this year that I think competes highly in that $100 range, which has been interesting because there have been other paddles over the last year that have come out in that 100 or less range, but really nothing has been able to dethrone the Prism. Like I think that has definitively been the king of that price range, and now we're gonna have the Jelly Bean and the Quartz. Yeah. So at some point, I think it's gonna be fun to kind of talk about all of those.
Definitely exciting news because I feel all the releases recently and all the videos that you've put out, John, Braden, all the reviewers, they've all been fairly expensive paddles. Like we've had the Pro XR, we've had the Black Diamonds and Ruby. 14 millimeter. I can't remember what else.
Well, Reload. I wouldn't really call Reload expensive because I guess the first it's 150.
Right. But yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of things have been on the pricier side, so it's good to see some more budget options come into the mix that play well. So that's great. Another release coming out.
And even like the 11.624s, those are good.
Yeah. 11.624 are very good for that price range as well. No, you're right. And I think what else we got? We have the Thrive Surge coming out. Which is just a good, solid, all-around paddle. If you guys haven't already, speaking of Thrive, I finally got my video out where you and I played against Grant and Lord in Vegas. So go check that out if you haven't. I forgot after I finished editing it, I forgot how much fun we had. I rewatched that video at least like 3 or 4 times, and dude, that was such a good trip. I was like, man,
It is fun to look back at matches like that because I think one thing that is particularly fun, at least when we've done the Pros versus Joes, or anytime I filmed a match style content, you're just like, oh, that was just like a good memory. It was just people having a good time playing pickleball. Most of the time, no one is taking themselves too seriously. Like half of it is, you're just laughing and having fun on the court. Yeah. And I think that's just what makes it fun.
We need to do another one where we play against some pros and like they have trainer paddles or we all have trainer paddles, because that would actually be hilarious. And to be quite honest, I feel like, I don't know, do you think we'd have a better advantage or no?
I think if they had a Franklin or Thrive trainer sweet spot paddle, I don't know that we would win, but I think the score would be a lot closer. I know Braden played Travis and Andre with the Pickle, but Okay, real question. Let's pause here. I always say pickle because that's just kind of how it reads. Is it supposed to be pickle? It probably is.
I don't know. I just call it pickle. But
yeah, it's probably pickle.
If you said pickle, like I wouldn't fault you for it. And then when you say that, it's funny because I automatically know what you're talking about. Like I know you're talking about that paddle. So I can go either way. Let us know in the comments what you'd prefer. We call it pickle or pickle, like just to differentiate. So we don't have to explain it.
It's spelled Pkoll, if that influences your decision. But
Okay.
anyways, he got beat pretty bad even when they used that. But the thing with that paddle is, yes, it's definitely a smaller sweet spot, but going to something like the Thrive or the Franklin is another step down.
Is another step down. But what if all 4 players had the sweet spot trainer paddle?
We're already at a disadvantage. Why are we nerfing ourselves even more?
Yeah, but they're nerfing themselves more as well. Like they don't have the power, that they would normally have, right?
Yeah, but then that takes away everything we're good at too.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I don't know.
We don't stay as good as if they get worse. We definitely get worse.
Yeah, but like I feel like they get more work. Like I feel like it's more even. Anyways, maybe
no 100%. You guys let us know in the comments, but we would get rocked if all of us had it.
You've had more time with it. You did a whole entire video on the Franklin trainer paddle, and you were nasty with it. I feel like we would do better.
No.
Come on. Oh gosh, guys, this is why Chris and I don't play as many tournaments together anymore. It's because of this attitude that he has. He's like, oh no, we can't do it. That's a no can do attitude. Come on, Chris. Come on.
I'll be dumbfounded if the comments right now agree that they would get worse than we would with the trainer paddle.
Maybe I'm just positively delusional.
Think about this. They hit the sweet spot more than us as it is.
Yeah, but you have hours. You put in work. You have a whole entire YouTube video dedicated to you using the trainer paddle. There's just no way.
We'll find out.
I'm trying to gas you up, Chris. I'm trying to gas you up. Come on. Dang. Do you take premium? Shoot. You take regular. No, this man's an electric vehicle right now. He's like, I can't even gas him up.
Actually, you know what's funny? This is off topic really quick. Speaking of electric. So now that I'm a homeowner, I was like, oh, I don't own literally anything you need for a home, which is like a
lawnmower,
weed whacker, a blower, well, we had a vacuum, but a mower, like all these things. So then I was like, okay, well, I gotta buy these. A ladder, yes. And I was like, okay, do I want gas or electric? And I was like, obviously, I'm going to go electric. And I can already...
these decisions.
People are probably shaking their heads in the comments right now about it being electric.
Nah,
because
I have
everyone...
an electric mower.
Do you?
Yeah, I have an electric mower. But also...
Who is it?
But I barely use it. I pay somebody to do my lawn now. It's just... I don't know. I'm not trying to waste my time doing the lawn.
Yeah, no, I actually felt the same way. But once we have... With the backyard as it is right now, it's kind of a pain to mow. But once that's a court, the front yard won't be bad. But yeah, I was like, I don't want to get gas. I don't want to have to deal with oil. Like, the electric one's quieter. It mows my lawn in one charge. It's fine.
You're gonna be good. You're gonna be good. It's 2024. You can have an electric mower without being judged. Okay, I'm not gonna judge you.
I don't know. Everyone's judged me for it so far.
Okay, well, everybody who's judged you is probably over the age of 45. It's okay.
That's mostly accurate.
Okay, see, gosh, Chris, you need younger friends like me.
What? You're almost a decade older than I am.
I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
All right, let's get back on track here.
Yes. Okay. All right. My trip to Cambodia. For those of you who don't know, I was in Cambodia for a month. I went there because Lavi, the owner of ADV, invited me to go out there because Cambodia was hosting the Davis Cup tournament, and it's their first time hosting it. And the Davis Cup is basically a league for the national tennis team to play against other countries. And there are, I think, 4, soon to be 5 groups. We're in group 4, and you basically play pools, like a pool play, or almost like round robin. There's 8 teams or 8 different countries, and you play all the teams, and depending on your score or your record, you get promoted to the next highest group, right? So we actually won. in our pool, and then we got promoted to group 3. I think we've been in group 3 before, but I'm not gonna lie, I was there to record like video, shoot some BTS, do some photos, and it was an awesome experience to meet the national team and do that. I definitely shed a few tears when they won, and we definitely had home court advantage. So we're playing some other countries that were in the pool were like Myanmar, I think Kyrgyzstan, Qatar, Iraq, UAE. And it's so funny because some of those teams, some of their matches, they had to withdraw because they couldn't deal with the humidity and the weather. Okay. Like one of the guys from Iraq was like, dude, I came here, they're playing tennis, right? These guys are like athletes. Some of them I think are like, have some ATP points that are like on the professional tennis tour, right? And they're running around in this, it's scorching hot weather, but it's also very humid. And they're like, dude, they told me, like, imagine we're running around, we're super tired, and it's the cleanest air I've ever breathed in my life. And I go to take the gas, inhale a huge gas of air. And when I take it, I feel like I'm about to drown. That's how humid it was. And I just thought that was the funniest thing when he told me that.
You said it was really hot there too.
It was hot. I mean, like, it was sometimes high 80s, sometimes like up to mid 90s. That's what it felt like. But the humidity, like it would like torrential downpour like every day for like an hour. And then once the heat started kicking in, you know, and evaporating everything, it would just feel so heavy. I go through like, I think like 4 shirts a day. That's what it felt like.
Jeez.
Yeah. Dude, you would not have had a good time. I already know how much you sweat.
No, I hate the humidity.
Yeah, it would have destroyed you. Anyways, we did that. That was fun. I taught pickleball to some guys at the national team. A few of them have played before. They've gone to Vietnam to play. Some of those videos will be coming out soon because, like, yeah, I just recorded us playing. I didn't even have like a regular pickleball court. I literally took like, it was so funny. I don't know if you saw in my story on my IG, but I took like those slats. They're like long rectangular, like plastic slats, and I set them down and I made a makeshift court, and I used the tennis net and I lowered the net, and we're playing and I'm teaching them the rules, and some of the guys are like, dude, no, that was out. And he's like, no, that hit the line. I was like, bro, there is no line. It's literally like a bunch of slats, like, you know,
because instead of a full line, it's gaps between.
It's gapped. It's like a dotted line. So I just thought that was like the funniest thing. And of course, like, I smoked them all. I was like, yeah, you guys might play tennis, but I got you guys.
What was their reaction going in? Did they think they were going to be good? Did they think it was going to be dumb? Like, what was the general vibe?
Some of them have played before and have seen it. And like, I think all of them, for the most part, like, respect it, you know? And some of them have played it and they think it's really fun. And I think a lot of them are just like, from what they've seen or when they play, they're like, why not just like hit it hard? Like, what's up with this dinking? Why can't you do this? And I was like, why are you dinking? Like, why can't, like, they see some shots where you're dinking and they just dink it back. It's like, why didn't you just like basically speed it up or hit it hard, like right here at this moment? And I was like, the angle is hard to see, but you'll see why. Once we play, like, you'll see why. You can't just do that, right? And if you do, like, you're going to get punished for it. Like, I'm going to be ready for you, like, at that level. Because, you know, some of them watched some, like, pro matches on YouTube. Some of them watched my matches on my channel. And they're like, why didn't I just, like, hit it hard right there? Like, why can't I just do that? And I was like, watch. When we play tomorrow, you'll see why. And for sure, I punished them. They tried to speed up some stuff on me, and I'm ready, like, to counter, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, boom, boom. I was like, you can't do that to me. Like, it's not going to work.
That's really funny. I mean, I will say, the first time I ever watched it, too, which was, like, a singles match between Ben and Tyson.
Yeah.
Now, granted, singles is a little different, but they still were doing a lot of cat and mouse. And my first thought, when I looked up pro pickleball, I was expecting people to just be blasting the ball. Yeah. And when I saw people dinking, I was like,
what is this?
Why?
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard, like, to know why. And I think you intuitively know once you start playing against, at least against somebody's good, and they hit you like a good dink or a good drop, that you can't just like blast it for whatever reason. You intuitively know why. Yeah. But it's not that apparent when you're watching it on screen or on TV. And it's funny because I played with this guy named Baptiste. He's one of the assistant coaches. He helps some of the juniors or whatever. He's originally from France, but he's played, like, I mean, he's lived in Cambodia for like over a decade. And he hit this shot on me, it was essentially like the Batman. And then after he did it and he got the point off of me, he was like, yo, Batman. And he like raised his hand and he was looking at me. And I was like, okay, you definitely watched that video. And
You got beat with your own shot.
Yeah, I was like, oh gosh. The fact that it happened to me in that way. I mean, I don't think he did it perfectly, but it was fun to watch and to see him kind of get excited. And then I taught some of the kids, like the younger kids, the up and comers that are part of the Cambodian like tennis team that are looking to, play tennis like on a professional level somewhat. They're like, 14, 15. I taught them pickleball. They had a lot of fun as well. It was a learning curve for them. I also hit a few of them with a few spin serves, just to humble them a little bit, to make them look stupid. Yep. That was awesome. I'm still a proponent of having the spin serve now because like, it's a big chump check. Like they couldn't return it. It was just the funniest thing.
That's
at least
hilarious.
some of them couldn't return it. So that was awesome. I also got to play badminton as well with my cousin. That was a lot of fun. I actually really like badminton, and it's actually a lot harder than I thought. And it is like really fast. I think the deceleration, like the shuttlecock is coming so fast and it decelerates like so quickly, it just messes up your timing, Yeah. And I'm just so bad at, I think they call it clearing, where it's like any point during the rally, you can kind of like reset by just like essentially lobbing it, you're just clearing it and it goes to the back court. I'm so bad at that. I try clearing it and it falls like in the middle of the court and they can just smack it at me. And I'm like, gosh, why am I so bad at this? It's just, I don't know. It was just hard.
It looks hard. I mean, when I watch high level badminton, I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah. And like the distance between like your hand and like the racket is so off, like, and then it's all like racket head speed. It's just really, it's just, it's a lot harder than it looks. And it's really tiring because you can't let the thing bounce. Like, you can't let the shuttlecock kind of bounce, so you can't like readjust. So you have to, there's a lot of lunging around. And like I said about me clearing, it's basically, my clears are so bad. It's the equivalent of me trying to reset a ball or dink and I just pop it up like immediately, like right at the right spot for them to smack. And my cousin's friend, I think his name is Zane, he's being really nice. He's just like kind of like tapping it back. And then eventually he got sick and tired of me like doing so bad. Then there's this one where he jumps up like fully in midair and then he smashes on it. I swear it looked like it was slow motion. I was like, oh my gosh, this man is about to dunk a basketball on me. That's what it looked like. He was jumping so high and went doom, and I was just like, oh my gosh. But
that's hilarious.
There's a lot of skills that are the same, like the resets and like the hands, and then also the dropping, the cat and mouse. Like I was actually pretty good at dropping and cat and mousing in badminton. Nice. But
I already know I'd be terrible at it because there's a lot of overheads and it would not convert for me.
Maybe you should play and then maybe that will help you with your overheads.
Fix my overhead. Yeah.
Yeah. Cross training for sure. You should definitely try.
I'd try badminton.
We should play. Pickleball Will and the Pickleball Studio tries badminton for the first time together. Pros versus Joes, something like that.
Oh my gosh. Nice. Well, that's cool. Yes.
Okay. A few other stories. Lavi came with me. He tried crickets for the first time. No? Not for you?
No, that sounds awful. You would not have gotten me to try a cricket. I can't. No? Just the thought of that kills me.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Lavi went to Vietnam and then went to China to go check on like the bag factory. An update for you guys. I think the bag should be delivered or start shipping to Kickstarter backers like middle of August. We had a delay because of, get this, pirates like stopping shipping container ships like through the Red Sea and like I think the canal that goes through the Red Sea. I forgot what it's called, but yeah,
that's actually crazy.
I remember I told you and you were like, what? Like you thought I was joking.
I could not believe that pirates were like still a real thing.
Yeah. Pirates are still like a legit thing out there. It's just kind of crazy.
Well, if pickleball doesn't work out for either of us, I guess we could just go become pirates.
Okay, calm down, Jack Sparrow. Okay, I want you to hear that.
I'd be a terrible pirate.
Could you imagine your nasally voice? Arr! No, I'm just kidding.
That's funny.
Okay. Last story. All right. I finally come back home talk to my parents, they're happy I'm back and everything. My mom was like, so Will, she was like, Will, did you bring me back home a wife? And then I slowly look at her and I looked at my dad and I was like, but Mom, you're already married. And then looked at my dad again. Me and my dad are just cracking up. Right. And then later I could tell my mom just gave me the stankiest look. Right. And then I decided to push it a little bit further. And I was like, no, Mom, but in about 9 months, you might have a few grandkids that you've always wanted. And then that's when I found out that my mom's love is not unconditional and that she would kick me out at any moment. So yeah, sorry.
All right. Good learning lesson there. Good learning lesson, Will.
Good learning lesson. Obviously, I was kidding, but she didn't know that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. Holy moly.
Yeah. That's about it for my trip to Cambodia. I mean, it was a good experience.
Good.
I'm glad I got to I gave them some pickleball paddles as well. I want to ship them more. And apparently there is a facility that should be opening up over there with I think 8 indoor courts or something happening. 8 to 12, I think. So, and then I heard a lot of expats, awesome. Go play over there. So I don't know. It's cool to see it kind of growing. Obviously it's big in Vietnam, and I think PPA is bringing a tour or an event in Asia. I think I don't know where, but yeah, pickleball is growing. Racket sports in
it's
general,
cool to see it growing internationally. I think that's really good for the sport.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, man, that was pretty much my trip to Cambodia. But I am glad to be back playing pickleball. Yeah, just getting the swing.
Be back in your own home.
Yes, my own bed. Dude, there's so many paddles that I need to catch up on and hit. So it's good that we're talking about some of this right now.
For sure.
But yeah, a lot of that. And I guess, I don't know. I miss being on the pod. Did you guys miss me? I don't know. You and Isaac did a pretty good job. I thought. I was watching some of it. How'd that go?
Yeah, it was good. I think one of the biggest differences is being in person is so much easier conversation wise. I'm even remembering as we're doing this one, the small delay, it's, how in normal conversation, you can cut someone off and it makes sense. Yes. You can't do it here because the lag makes you both go, what?
Yes.
Yeah. So it definitely makes it harder, but yeah, no, it was solid month for sure.
Okay. Well, I think now that I'm back, I'm probably going to take actually a little time off the pod. You'll still see me, but you won't see me every week. And I think you and Isaac have such a good dynamic. And plus you guys test paddles a lot together. And I'm not always up to date on all the paddles. And sometimes, me, I get tired of talking about paddles. So, and I feel and rightfully so. I mean, this is what this pod has kind of turned into, which is fine. Obviously, that's what it should be. That's what we do. That's what we talk about. But yeah, I'm probably going to take a step back. You'll probably see me in less episodes, maybe I don't know, 2 a month or 1 a month. Maybe I'll have a segment.
We'll get you that Will segment.
The Will segment? Okay, yeah. What should we call it?
Yeah, we are going to, you know what? People should come out and give a creative name for it. We'll see what the audience thinks. If you have a creative name for a segment of the show when Will phones in, let us know what you think would be a good portion.
What's the deal with Pickleball Will?
It's not bad. It's not bad. We'll see what the other ideas are, but that's not bad.
Okay. All right. Let us know down in the comments. So yeah, I mean, I'm just going to be focusing on my channel because I'm going to start switching things up a little bit. And you guys know that, I wasn't trying to do paddle reviews all the time. I kind of want to do a little bit of everything. I'll still be talking about paddles as well, but I'm trying to put a different spin on things.
Yeah. I mean, I think even in the early days of the pod, you mentioned that paddle reviews were never really the long-term goal. It was more, I can do this right now and it's a talking thing, but I can't remember what episode it was, but definitely one of the early ones where you're basically just eventually I'd like to be doing something, other stuff too. Not just paddles. Yeah,
not just paddles, but I still love talking about paddles. But honestly, you guys do all such a good job with you, even John and even Braden now, you guys are just crushing it with the paddle reviews. And I'm gosh, I don't know if I want to talk about paddles anymore. They could just watch your videos and you get all the information you need.
But I was telling you, the thing that you have that none of us have is humor.
Okay, yeah, I got to start making them a little bit more funny. Well, I mean, I have a few that are coming up that are a little bit more funny, but now I can focus on it can be more selective and being funny with the paddle reviews for sure. But anyways, that's all the news, I guess, from me. Let's move on to kind of our main subject, which is the best paddles released in 2024 so far. Chris?
Yeah.
What you got?
Let's do it. Well, first of all, I just want to say, as we were coming up with this list, there's definitely going to be some paddles we haven't hit yet or that are not out yet. So if you're like, why wasn't this one here? It's probably because we haven't hit it. I tried looking around everywhere online, and I think we've covered most of the big releases that we've hit. So if one is missing, it's probably because we haven't hit it and can't really comment on it, or it's not out yet. But also what was interesting, Will, is as we were kind of making this list, I think one thing that both you and I thought was, even though there's been definitely some great releases this year, there's still paddles from last year that bleed into this year
that are still
that
so
are
good.
Very good.
There's so many good paddles, dude. It might have been easier to make a list of like, actually no, it wouldn't have been easier to make a list of like the bad paddles, because I think all the paddles are just all really good. Like you can go with almost anything. Really, you really could.
Yeah. I mean, even the really generic ones have all gotten solid. But even if you're looking from last year, paddles that are still pretty relevant today, Gearbox Pro Power, Volair Forza Mach 2, Double Black Diamond, the Vatic Prism Flash, again, that's kind of been the king in that price range. The Ruby, the ALWC basically got popular this year because the TKO from PaddleTech came out.
Yep.
And that was released last year in November. So, and there's definitely other paddles from last year that are still really good. So it was just kind of interesting. I feel like in previous years, each year there was a paddle that was basically definitively better than what had been out last year. It's less so this year, and I think in the future we're going to continue to see that.
Yes, you're going to have your work cut out for you when you do the end of the year paddle awards. Have you started coming up with that? I mean, I guess this is kind of like notes for a potential list for you, but for you to decide on what is going to be awarded, I think you're going to have a really, really tough time. Did you remember I called you the other day just to get updates on paddles, and I'm workshopping 2 videos, like my top choices for all court paddles and my top choices for control paddles. And it's because I made a list of like my top choices for power paddles, and that was easier to do. But coming up with that list is huge. And like I have to like narrow it down. Like it's just going to be very difficult. And I feel like you to pick just one out of like the bunch, I almost feel like it's a impossible task.
It'll be an interesting year for sure. It's gonna be a competitive year. There was companies that, I mean, we'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be interesting.
Okay, so what's their first pick? Like actual paddles that released this year.
Yeah, so first one for me is the Honolulu J2K. Still haven't done a review on it. Planning to get to it, but I think as I've hit this paddle, I just don't know what there is to complain about. Actually, the only thing for me, and it's subjective whether it's a complaint or a pro, is that the handle is a little bit shorter. But here's an interesting thing that a lot of people, and I would even say myself included sometimes, is so the handle is shorter, but that's also kind of what makes it as good as it is, because the way the bottom corner comes out, they're able to add more weight down there, which is the reason the J2K is so stable. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times people are like, well, why didn't they just make a longer handle? A lot of times it's just going to change how it plays. So the J2K, if it had a longer handle, it might not be as good as it is. Like that could just be the reason it's as great as it is. But J2K
so
is
interesting
great.
That something that small, like that little bit of extra length in the handle could affect the play, because now you have more weight on the perimeter on the outside to make it more stable. But yes, I agree with you. Honolulu J2K is definitely up there, a contender. I think it's definitely better than the J2K Pro. I think to some extent, this also, I haven't hit with it much, just really tapped the ball on, but I feel like the J3K would also be really good, because I actually like the regular J3. When I compared the original J2 and then the J3, I think I preferred the J3. Something about it was just has a nice plush feeling, and I'd imagine the J3K to that, same regard would also play very well.
For sure. I think the J2K is probably, I would say, the best all-around hybrid that's on the market right now. Like the stability on that thing is insane. It's like stability that rivals a standard shape, but in a hybrid package. Like it's just really good.
Gotcha. Nope, I would agree. All right. Next, like one thing I have on my list is the bread and butter Shogun. I think that's just a solid paddle. Super, just, I don't know, interesting, has an interesting feel. I do know some people who've tried it who don't really like it or like the feel, but I still think it's just a really good, just modern paddle. And I just can't get away from that nice springy feel that it has. And I know you liked it too.
Yep, I liked that feel a lot. Obviously, again, they always crush the marketing, so the paddle looks different, which is a plus, not really for performance, but it's just, oh, okay, hey, it doesn't look like everything else. That's always nice. But I imagine more companies are going to play with titanium at some point, and I'm so curious to see it in different shapes and thicknesses because I think it has potential.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't seen another company come out with it just yet. Like, is there anybody else that's done like a kind of titanium face sheet?
The only one, I'm blanking on their name. I think it's Nexus is the company, and I think ProStar is the model. I was hearing some stuff about that, and I believe that one has titanium too. And I mean, as far as public releases, that's pretty much it. So curious to see if others hop on the trend, but I want to see it.
Okay. All right. Next up on, I think the list that we agree on is the Monarchs. I think all the iterations are really good. Do you have one that you favor over the rest of them? Like in terms of better the releases?
Yeah, if I had to go to a tournament, I think it would be the All Court because it's kind of similar to the style of paddles I've already played. I mean, I liked the Huarache X Control Plus, and it's the same thing, but in a wide body shape. But the Jelly Bean is so good. I mean, again, the Prism basically just went unrivaled for like an entire year, and I think the Jelly Bean is going to give it some good competition. It is a different shape. Like the Prism is elongated and hybrid. This is a wide body. So it fills a good portion of the market, but what I think is nice about the Jelly Bean is because of that fiberglass layer, you get just a little bit more pop at the net compared to the Prism. So if the Prism didn't have enough pop for you, this I think is a step up, and the thing is so flipping fast in the hand. Like if you wanted it to hit even harder, just slap a little bit of lead. I think the swing weight was 107 and the balance point was also pretty low. So it's just really good. I have a feeling that and the Prism are going to like go neck and neck a lot.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. All right. And then for my next pick, I would say the Chorus Shapeshifter, I think, is a pretty underrated release. I mean, I know John Q switched to it, and it's kind of like does everything a little bit better, like better than average, but nothing is a huge standout. I know some people think that it's a little too head heavy, but I like head heavy your paddles, and I think it's a little head heavier for a hybrid shape paddle, but I think it's because the core, it uses like a denser cell size, but I think that's the reason why it feels like so plush and so good in my hands. So that's one that I would choose. I don't know if you hit it much.
I mean, I pretty much agree. I haven't reviewed it because it was kind of one of those ones where it was just in a weird spot for me, but I do think that is another that has been a really good paddle this year. It's just in a weird spot in terms of price point relative to the other market and the performance it delivers, but it really doesn't have anything to complain about. Like if I had to go to a tournament with it, I'd be fine. It's a good paddle.
Okay. All right. What else you
Next
got on your
list?
list?
Next for me. So obviously the Yola Gen 3s got banned, so those would be in this list. But I imagine that the mod, I know it's probably going to be a little bit different from everything I've heard from different people, but my guess is that's going to end up on a list somewhere this year because a lot of people want that Gen 3 back. I know plenty of people who were ready to pounce on this thing, and there was definitely a lot of excitement. So,
do you have it?
I don't yet, but it should be. Mine might come Monday or Tuesday. It's not far away. So,
what did they change? Did they just call it the mod TA whatever? Or
so here is my current understanding, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think I'm close. So the mod was the paddle that got submitted to USAP last year, got approved, and then Yola made the Gen 3, which was a little bit different. And when they compared it to the mod, that was because they filed it under it's similar to the mod and got it approved that way. And then when they found out it was different, they were like, hey, this is a problem. And my understanding is that the foam was thicker in the Gen 3, like that new foam they added. it was like wider,
wider.
and the mod doesn't have as much foam.
So it might not pop nearly as much as what you're saying, or theoretically that's what it is.
Yeah.
That should be the
My
difference.
guess is it's still going to be pretty poppy, probably still pretty powerful, but I'm guessing it'll be toned down from the Gen 3.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Next up on my list, I'm gonna pick the Engage Pursuit Pro 1. I really like that paddle a lot. It made my like number 2 spot on my top power list. That one, and even the Engage Pursuit Pro from, was that last year's release or was that this year as well? It was last year. That's also still very good. Maybe a little bit more control centric than the Pursuit Pro 1, but the Pursuit Pro 1 is super solid in my opinion, and probably one of the best paddles that Engage has made in recent memory.
Yeah, Pro 1 for me, it wasn't bad. I think it is a good paddle. It was just the problem for me when I put it side by side with the one last year is it just felt, I feel like when you upgrade, you expect noticeably more of something, and this one, it almost just felt like a side grade where it was like the feel is a little bit different. Maybe in some metrics it does a little bit more, and it's definitely not bad, but I think for me it was just like, last year's was so good, so I was expecting even more, especially because it was kind of pitched as, especially it was timed at like the Gen 3, and they were saying power core, and I was like, oh, this thing's gonna slap like crazy, and then it was kind of like, oh, it hits hard, but not like a Gen 3.
Yeah, not nearly as hard. So yeah, no, I can definitely see that. And also, I still, like, as good as it is and as much as I like it, I still think they're kind of just, I don't know, really pricey for what they are. You know, when I really think about it, when I put price into consideration, you know?
Well, and especially when you factor in this next one, which is the PaddleTech TKO, the ALWC, which is technically last year.
Those are really
and
good.
Then I believe it should be coming soon because I think I saw they just got approved, but the ESQ, which is basically going to be an Annalee with a longer handle on it, which I think a lot of people have been liking these standard or wide body paddles with longer handles, especially me. And I mean, the TKO like crushed it. I mean, to me, I think the TKO is what I expected the Pursuit Pro 1 to be, but then with PaddleTech, it was, I think it's $30 cheaper. Yeah, 30, I believe. So it just, PaddleTech knocked it out of the park. I feel like I'm sure they weren't really. I'm sure they were doing fine financially, but they felt like they were on the brink of being completely forgotten.
I did not see PaddleTechs anywhere. And when the TKOC came out, I see them now. Like, people are using them at my courts and stuff. Yeah, exactly. They're really good. I don't know what they did, or if it was like the layup of the carbon fiber face sheets or how many layers they used or something, but yeah, there is some pop and power to them. And I played with it today, and I was like, I had a tough time resetting. I was like, I don't know if I could play with it, but I was like, this thing has some pop and it has some power. So yeah, a lot of people like it. It's a good paddle.
Hey, you know what? There's a few things. One, I hope PaddleTech learns from past mistakes and does not go 2 to 3 years without releasing something decent. Like, please don't take this home run and bet on this for the next 2 to 3 years. Keep expanding on it. But yeah, they really crushed it with these. I mean, at my facility, I think it was two things. Obviously, they made a great paddle, but I do think there was a little bit of lucky timing with the Gen 3s getting delisted because that was kind of one of the next, besides the gearbox, that was one of the next best power options you could get. And I think that's why I see them everywhere, is people who had the Gen 3, they're like, well, this thing hits hard, I'll use that.
Yeah, and because technically they're not thermoformed, right? So like, you have less chances of core crushing. And I mean, it's not without its own problems. Like, I think, like in your review, the 14.3 millimeter one, right? It had the steel,
only the CX.
Only the CX.
So the CX models have those. The TKO C and ALW don't have those, which later found out was fishing weights, by the way.
Fishing weights. But, okay, it's just weird. Like, why would you, I don't know. Why would you have them in one and not the other, I guess? But, I mean, I don't know. PaddleTech, they knew what they were doing, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, very good paddles. Very, very good.
Very good paddles. Okay, I only have like 2 more on my list. I'm gonna give a shout out to the Thrive Azul. I still think that's a good power paddle. I still really like that paddle. I mean, I played with it in our little match and against Grant and Lauren when we were in Vegas, and yeah, I think that one's still super solid. And then I also really like the Grooven Laser like 16S, which is like Grooven's like Kevlar kind of like paddle, their version of Kevlar, and that's super solid as well. And I think
I need to hit that one. It looks nice. The one I have, it looks just appealing.
It's good. It's good. It's in that kind of realm too, where it does everything like kind of like the Shapeshifter, like it does everything a little bit above average, but nothing's gonna just blow you. Like nothing's gonna blow you out of the water. Nothing's like mind bending or mind blowing. Just everything is just solid. Just paddles are just getting better, like overall. Like I said, the list would be really hard to come up with.
I'm probably missing an obvious one in my head right now. I haven't thought about this yet, but I'm so curious who's gonna win flop of the year.
Flop of the year,
because no one's making bad paddles, which is great. I mean, I am happy that people aren't making bad paddles, but I'm curious. I mean, there's still basically half a year left. We'll see.
Okay,
Someone might
now,
surprise me.
Who would be flop of the year like right now?
I see the problem is, it was great with my old apartment, at least how I had it set up. I had all the paddles in my office. Now all the paddles sit in the basement. And so I can't like look at the wall and be like, which ones were good and bad? I'm probably missing something kind of obvious.
I mean, flop of the year, as an honorable mention, I almost feel like you have to say the Yola Gen 3s because they got delisted.
I mean, true. That is kind of a flop. That's a good point. That's a good point.
But in terms of just paddle performance.
Yeah, they were obviously great.
Yes. I just don't. Yeah. And I don't know what else was kind of a flop. I mean, I don't know. You weren't that necessarily that favorable for the 14 millimeter Black Diamond and 14 millimeter Ruby.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call that a flop. Like, I think there were paddles that were cheaper and at least equivalent in performance, or for me, a little bit better. But flop has to combine just bad performance, like high expectations. And these were they were fine. Man. I just think there were better options. So I couldn't give that a flop, but
yeah, no, you're going to have a tough time figuring out a flop, but you have to give it to somebody. Somebody's
got to get it. We'll figure it out one way or another.
All right.
Nice. Cool. Well, that's kind of our list right now. I'm sure there's going to be more exciting paddles. There's other ones I'm eager to hit, but right now I think what I've hit so far this year and seen, these are some of my favorites and your favorites.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Now we made it to the kitchen. And in today's kitchen, we're going to talk about Pickleball Vision, which is the app, right? The AI software that goes on your phone, right? Have you used
web, app, phone. Like, you can use it on desktop. You can use it on as an app on your phone. Both options.
Okay. Have you used it?
So you haven't used this yet, right?
No.
Okay. So I'll try and explain it. It continues to get smarter and smarter, and I think the future for this, if they keep going this direction, is going to be huge. So basically what it does is you can upload your match, and it will get all the analytics for you. Like, it can tell you, third shot drop percentages. Actually, if you go back and watch my gold mixed match in the US Open, I had PB Vision do the stats on that video, and I showed all of them, and it was pretty interesting. And they've added even more stats since then. So like, it'll show you how much court you covered, what side you played most of the time, how many balls you hit. And in future updates, they're working on, this is going to be super cool. I'm super excited for this, is a basically shot finder. So you could say, I'm just going to make up a bunch of shots here. I don't know exactly which ones they're going to have, but you could filter by player and then say, show me every single time that person hit a backhand drop, or show me every time they hit a forehand drop or a backhand dink or an overhead. So if you had a match where you thought you were getting picked on for something, or you did something really poorly, you could say, okay, find Chris, show me all his backhand dinks. And now you could just watch it. Instead of having to watch the whole video and find it, PB Vision would just find it for you, and you could watch it immediately.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. And it gives you the numbers and the stats for it as well. Like,
yep.
Is it all laid out very intuitively or in a nice readable fashion?
I thought so. Yeah, I thought it was laid out very well.
Is it free right now? Like
I believe it is free right now.
Okay, I might just put up the match that I just posted up of you and me playing against Grant and Lauren, and just to see some of the stats.
That would actually be kind of cool. The only thing to keep in mind is files that you upload, and I'm pretty sure, actually I can't remember. Anyways, the whole court has to be visible. Like every corner of the court has to be visible. So if it's cut off, it can't do it.
Okay, I might have to go and like export another version where there's no like punch-ins or zooms or something.
And I think it might even be better if you use the raw video instead of a cut one too, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I'm probably do it because I have two angles that I cut between, like one at the kitchen and one from the back of the court. It off. So that would probably throw it off. So I need to go back. Okay, well, something to try out. I'm definitely curious now for sure. And if it's this good, do you think like PPA or APP will use it in their streams? Like I just feel like that would just make sense.
Well, so the only thing right now is...
can't do it live.
It can't do it live. I don't know if that's something they're working to. Right now, it's, you upload the file, you get the result a little bit later. But it would be cool at a minimum to use this for lots of matches and then gain stats that in the future they could just pop up.
Yeah. Or even have like post-match stats or post-match interviews with these stats in mind that they can ask the players after their matches or something like that. I think that would be interesting as well.
And something really cool that they're doing, I think there's 2 facilities that are going to have this in Minnesota, but they've basically built a system where there's a camera built in on the court and you can just pay at the front desk like, hey, I want my match recorded with PB Vision. And then when you finish, it'll give you all the stats on your matches. Oh,
that's pretty sick. Yeah. There are some courts that I saw in Northern Virginia that had that option too. Like you could like purchase, or you can clip a video clip from your gameplay that you play. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that's going to be like the future. You're going to see a lot of that in all the facilities.
Yeah. And I think it'll just be very eye-opening to get stats quickly and not have to, right now doing it is such a pain where you have to pull it up in a video editor, cut everything up, then find what shots you're looking for. This just makes it so fast. And when you upload your matches, it will clip all of what it thinks are highlights, like long rallies, or I don't know exactly how it's detecting, but it'll pull up all these rallies, and then you can even share those links with people of that highlight. So there's a lot of potential for this in the future. I think it's still probably going to be a little bit before it's prime time, like huge, but it's consistently gotten better every single update, and I've been very impressed with it. So I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to check it out, but it's looking really cool.
Okay, pretty sick. Yeah, I'm gonna go check it out as well. All right, I think that's it for this pod, man. You have anything else?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
Dang, it was good. It was good to be back, guys. I missed you guys. Hopefully you guys miss me too, or maybe not. Maybe they'd rather just see you and Isaac.
I guess we'll find out. We'll see what they say. Also, definitely let us know about the peak hole and what you guys think about the sweet spot trainer if you haven't already. Leave a comment and let us know.
Definitely. All right. See you guys.